So, guys, welcome back to another episode of our Partner Spotlight. Today, we are talking to the founder of GPU Network, Suraj. Welcome to the show, Suraj. How are you today?
Hey, nice to meet all of you. Thanks for inviting. Love the spicy team. Really great guys. Yeah, good to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, and we're excited to have you. A lot of people may have heard of GPU Network, but they haven't really, dived into it. So that's kind of what we're going to do with this show. So remember, guys, if you're watching, like, subscribe, and remember to follow all of Suraj's socials. GPU Network's links will all be in the description. But let's just jump, straight into it by a brief introduction to, who Suraj is.
Yeah, so I started as a physicist. I was pursuing a lot of theoretical physics with dark matter, building theory on theory with no practical validation inside. This was when I was in Germany, in Bonn, Physikalisches Institute. That's where I said, okay, Elon was just starting at that point, and it was a good inspiration to see deep tech entrepreneurs building real stuff, things that we talked about in our papers, but actually went out and productized them. So I've been productizing since. I was setting up India's first space tech accelerator program, which didn't fly at all. Yeah, so I ended up running Swiss government's accelerator program in India. It's called SwissNex.
Mhm.
Did that, worked with a lot of startups, working with corporates, solving mega corporate problems which they couldn't solve in house. And 2020 was a time when I think COVID hit.
Yeah.
Did another startup there into mental health. Uh, just started on WhatsApp, like a provider consumer kind of a platform. There's a counselor who can provide counseling as someone who wants to hear or consume that. That grew real fast. We got acquired by a bigger mental health startup with their own tech stack pretty fast. We didn't even have the time to build that tech stack.
Wow.
This was almost 6 months down the lane, and but got crazy nuances on the provider consumer marketplace kind of dynamics. And yeah, going forward, then I was there with the router protocol. Again, a very interesting story when router when they launched, they were cross-chain bridge, and no one wanted to put the liquidity on another cross-chain bridge when everyone was using multi-chain in that time. Okay, multi-chain used to have like a almost half a billion market cap. I don't know what happened of them today, but yeah, router was in that space, and I had joined as head of partnerships there, and that's when we started talking to a lot of founders, and we said, okay, so that's not really the big pain point for founders, but one of the pain point was fragmenting their liquidity across many chains. Okay, and if they don't do that, they are losing out on, let's say, attracting users from Avalanche, Phantom, of course. Everyone wanted to be on every chain, right? You want to be on Ethereum, Polygon, Binance, but also everything else. That was the problem. That's when we came out with our infra solutions. Like we had a widget. You can just put it on your website, and then anyone can swap any funds from any chain into receiving your tokens on your chain. Okay, so that big chasm of you have your socials, you have your website, and then you have a page for token, and then you say, hey guys, go to Ethereum or Uniswap or maybe BSC, Pancake, whatever, and buy my tokens there. So you're losing your audience to some external DApp. Okay, that we brought it into the project DApp itself. Plus, you could also put all your liquidity on one chain. All your users can come from any number of chains. Okay, so abstracting that piece. Okay, making cross chain, taking cross chain into a backend. Okay, and giving the user a much better experience. That when this narrative was created, okay, every founder was like, what do I have to do? Okay, I want it. And yeah, it's a simple widget. It's a HTML code. You go update your token ticker, whatever. You can paste it, copy paste it on your website, and it goes live. It can go live in 5 minutes
Wow.
if you can do it. And that was so powerful. Okay, this was a time when Luna crash had happened.
Hmm.
That 6 months from Luna crash to FTX. Okay, and we had done 90 partnerships in a span of 180 days. Okay, and these were like product integration partnerships, projects who had crypto projects who had integrated us and talked about us. That was what everyone was talking about. who are these guys who are doing this left and right? There's a partnership announcement going everywhere, and people will start to say, okay, this got to be the link of the of this run.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's where I really got into the infra space. Okay, fully understood it, championed it. Okay, routers, we built a whole cross suite of products. So the product development happened in response to the business demand. Okay, the tech was only a bridge, but then the business team, the partnerships team told to build a widget, API, SDK, and then finally we reached a point where router needed to have its own chain. Okay, so that's when, yeah, the tech team said, yeah, that's good, but it'll probably take a year to build it.
Mhm.
Okay, and I said probably it's a good time for me to go and build something of my own. Okay, by the way, router's chain is still building. It's been
Yeah,
one
they're
year
still
now.
around, right?
Yeah, yeah, they're
Yeah.
still around. Token is doing pretty well,
Yeah.
80 million market cap. The chain is yet to come. So it was a good point to go off.
Mhm.
And that was the point. So when I was in router again, so I was day in, day out talking to all these founders. Okay. One big pain point of the industry was metaverse failed. Okay. Every crypto project out there, okay, almost 50 projects in metaverse segment had raised whatever 3 to 5 million. Okay.
Yeah.
And they wanted to make a GTA 5 or a 6.
Yeah.
Okay, with 3 to 5 million in your kitty, you want to make something. The last GTA took about a decade to build, with almost
What was the cost? I heard some crazy number. I don't know if it was a billion or it was like 100 million,
it's
something like that. But
it was
it's
many
expensive.
billions,
Yeah.
many billions.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a lot. Okay, so you had that and you wanted that. Okay, everyone wanted to create their whole real world simulation kind of a
Yeah.
infinite world kind of scenario.
Hmm.
Okay, and it's crazy. Okay, it's crazy when you sit down. Okay, even the room that you see. Okay, it's very difficult to bring this level of fidelity. Okay, this is just a background, but to bring this level of fidelity in a 3D environment.
Yeah.
Okay, the pain point of every founder was getting a 3D environment built. Okay, you have to give it to a who will build it. You need an Unreal or a Unity developer
Yeah.
who are more expensive, and more than that, very rare than even your Solidity devs to find.
Hmm.
Okay, the good ones. It was a big pain. Okay, that's when we said. So I had been doing generative AI. Okay, by the way, when I left physics, uh, the paper I published into it's into causality. Okay, so that time we didn't used to call it AI. It was just stats.
Yeah.
So I've been, dabbling into it, and we said, can there be an approach, okay, where I can take just an image and actually construct it in 3D? Okay, our mind actually does it. Okay, whenever I tell you, let's say I tell you Eiffel Tower or Taj Mahal, you imagine it in 3D.
Hmm.
Okay, you can even walk around the Eiffel Tower, whatever, right? You can imagine. Can AI do this? That's the job. Okay. Can I give it an image and make it? So we started, and almost in 3 months we got a product. Okay, that's actually even live today on brahmyan.com, or all our company emails are on that. That takes a video, which is a set of many angles of an image, converts it into 3D. Okay, this was on par with some of the best research papers coming out at that time. Nerve, we were using the nerve approach. Okay, um, yeah, but it went pretty well. We even did some deals with a couple of gaming studios. Okay, help them. Basically using AI, you can make your development 5x faster, 5x cheaper, and 5x photorealistic. But all of this took such a heavy GPU, okay, that we realized that we had reached a stalemate. Okay, just to give a ballpark, okay, um, Chat GPT, okay, the multimodality it has, the knowledge it has. I mean, you can make a Chat GPT that just talks about your nursery rhyme or covers one book about it, but you want to make something that just knows everything. That took training of across a year on 10,000 GPUs.
Wow.
Okay, that is a text generative AI. The latest in the generative AI field today, is 2D generative AI,
Hmm.
where you are seeing this amazing videos coming out of Runway ML, okay,
Hmm.
or many more. Okay, you can give it a picture of a, Midjourney. Everyone has
Yeah.
probably used Midjourney, beautiful dragon sitting, and it will make a very high fidelity photograph. Now you can take that photograph and you can make it come alive in a short 2 3 second video.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is all 2D generative AI. Okay, it is not building a depth. Okay, it is just a sequence of
Images.
images
Yeah.
that they're generating. The 2D generative AI itself consumes about 10 times more GPUs than a typical text generative
Wow. I see where you're going
AI.
with this. We haven't even gotten to 3D.
We are nowhere near 3D.
Yeah.
Okay, to build a useful 3D that powers a GTA 6 or a GTA 7 will take you at least 100,000 GPUs,
Wow. Wow.
at least.
So that's the clear indication right there that there is a demand and a supply shortage on its way. I mean, because I've seen these 2D generated uh, um, AI like commercials, right? And first of all, they're horrific and scary to watch. But the actual image itself still needs a lot of work of interpreting the image and this and that. But that's only a minute and a half, right? And we haven't even gotten to long format videos, and then also, like you said, the I guess increment of increased demand. It just goes like you're saying 100 times almost more, right? And and we don't even know where it goes from that because when you say 100,000 GPUs, for example, is that at a low quality, mid quality, or high quality rendering? You know what I mean? So there's still levels
I
to it.
say H100s.
Yeah.
I started with ChatGPT, which did it on almost 10,000 of H100s.
Yeah.
Okay, could be A100s, but today H100 is the topmost.
Hmm.
Okay, then comes the 2D generative AI.
Hmm.
Okay, so ByteDance actually bought 100,000 of A100s
Hmm.
for creating its 2D generative AI. That's what sent the whole market into shortage.
Mm.
Okay, but that's not where the problem began. The problem began after seeing ChatGPT. Every corporate wanted to build their own ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Okay, there is an Airbus. Okay, the entire company is built out of design documents.
Hmm.
Okay, one engineer is supposed to read a 60-page design document and figure out something or build something. Okay, now they're saying, can I make a GPT or an LLM where there is a language model to talk to these designs?
Hmm.
Okay, where instead of a very smart engineer who has to go and understand the 60-page document for doing every single task. Okay, by the way, for folks who have seen Chernobyl, okay, you can imagine the complexity that the manuals of these things run into.
Yeah.
Okay, instead of that, can the company create a LLM where someone can talk into it and ask questions or get advices, whatever. Okay, and for that, they are now building their own in-house LLM, which where they feed it into all the designs that they have all tilted done. They are also feeding it into annotations, which is like this is good design, this is bad, this needs to go like this, lot of this. Okay, some high level logical reasoning, something what we are seeing in Gemini. Okay, so they are training that. This is Airbus. Okay, JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley, they are trying to create an in-house LLM with taking all of their numerical chart financial data. Okay, and they're saying, can I create a language interface to this? Okay, can I feed in all of this and just talk to it? Okay, hey guys, what happens if inflation goes to this, index funds is so the derivative funds is, I can just talk out the maths instead of hiring really smart guys from Harvard, Princeton, MIT, Stanford all the time to do that. Okay, it will be a worthy investment. Long story short, everyone is trying to do that.
Yeah.
Every big corporate today on the planet is trying to build their own LLM.
Yeah.
Okay. And LLMs are only a start.
Yeah.
Language is only an interface to communicate. Okay. These models now go deeper, whether they interact with numerical models or they'll interact with design models. Okay. Someone will maybe someday design a chip designing LLM where you can talk it and it will give you a circuit and you can maybe go and print it, whatever. Okay, there'll be hundreds of these, but all of them will need to run or be trained on a GPU. They need to be trained on a GPU, okay, which is a heavy investment. But even when they're running in live, so when you send your prompt into ChatGPT, even right then, it takes some GPU to give you the answer.
Yeah.
That's inferencing. Okay. So yeah, the demand of GPU is only going to increase as more and more, the same way we saw the number of apps coming onto when first Play Store came out or Android came out. The
Yeah.
number of apps just grew. Because even with these LLMs, we are at that stage where the Android layer or the transformers architecture has just been understood.
Hmm.
Okay. Now people are just going deeper and we'll see a Cambrian explosion onto this.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like I've seen it in every industry trying to introduce LLMs to increase efficiency and just a new perspective on like you mentioned some finance giants, but even in I hear it in construction, understanding contracts and having the LLM interpret large bodies of data and verbiage, which yeah, it's only growing. And that example of the apps that are being used on the App Store or Play Store, same exact situation, right? And I've spoken to a bunch of different projects that highlight this issue, and the more I hear about it, the more I think that although you're GPU network, and we're gonna get into that as well. That's kind of the basis of GPU network to kind of solve that gap in supply. But it sounds like the problem's just so much bigger than you know we can fix. So my question is now, how would we go about fixing that supply problem? How would GPU network achieve this?
Yeah. So now comes the fun part. There are a lot of GPUs.
Hmm.
Okay. There is a huge demand. There is a huge supply as well. Okay. Somewhere this supply, I think I had shared a post on Twitter. Maybe I'll forward you that particular link.
Yeah.
80% of the supply sits with Microsoft and Google
Wow.
of these GPUs.
You're talking worldwide
80%
in total.
worldwide.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So there were about 500,000 GPUs sold in 2023.
Hmm.
And I'm talking about the enterprise grade ones, H100s, out of which 300,000 sit with Microsoft and Meta.
Oh, okay. So Facebook.
Yeah. And the remaining 200,000 are with Tencent, Oracle, Amazon, and Google.
So
Okay.
it's really
So
the.
now what is happening with this?
Mhm.
Okay. Yes, there's a GPU, but it's almost a hoarding model. Okay. Because only, Meta or Microsoft basically spent all of their GPUs into OpenAI.
Mhm.
These are capable to produce really good models
Yeah.
like a chat GPT. Okay. The rest, whatever GPUs are available, okay, they are available at a very high price. So if I want to go and build a chat GPT of myself, let's say even if I have the data, I would be paying $4 per hour for an 800, okay, on an AWS. Okay. This comes to about 30,000 USD per year, okay, of rental on using an A100, while the MRP of an A100 is 15,000 USD.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, this would be fine if this was a typical hotel business, it's fine. Maybe it's being used half of the time or whatever,
Mhm.
right? But it's not. It's a business that is running at 80 to 90% capacity fill. This is the business of GPU cloud.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, you'll be pretty smart. Okay, if I can take a machine for 15,000 USD, I can monetize it for 30,000 USD a year. Let me go and buy some machines. That's a smart investment. It,
Yep.
it will pay itself off in a year. Okay. Now, if you go and buy in Nvidia, number one, you will not get. Okay. Number two, if you are very much, okay, fine, you have an organization, you can show you have been in the industry for some time and all of it. And we also have a good relationship with Nvidia. Okay. you will get a waiting time of 52 weeks
Wow. A year, basically, you gotta
a
wait.
year. Okay. By the time you're delivered those A100s, okay, your top competitors, which could be anywhere, Tesla, Meta, Microsoft, they will be getting H100s, H200s, probably the latest generation.
Hmm.
Okay. It's like you went to you MacBook was launched M1 chips. You went and placed an order. By the time you got the M1 order, okay, your friends have got the M2 machine.
Yeah.
Okay. This
It,
is what is happening currently.
yeah.
Okay. That's where, in fact, there were some good guys in the industry, including Jeff Bezos. Okay. The guy founder of EAC. Okay. Um, he said, fuck it. Okay. We'll create our own chips.
Hmm.
If this is the massive centralized mafia that is going all around, he's like, fuck it.
Hmm.
What GPU net is saying is we can fuck the GPU cloud guys. Okay.
Hmm.
In our crypto world, okay, we have people who are really talented. They can run a data center. Okay. There were people who were eth miners, now jobless. Okay. There were smart people who understood how to run a data center. Okay, who understood or had the capital to also build it. Okay, these were people who, let's say, went out and this is almost a year, 2 years ago. Let's say you went out and you tried with 10 of 3080s, and you see you are getting some ETH rewards, POW, and okay, let me go and buy 100 or 1,000 of these cards. Okay, and they ran it at scale.
Hmm.
Okay, these were the ETH miners that ran our entire ecosystem back in the last 2021 bull run. And there is these people. Okay, why can't we create a decentralized platform? Okay, where there are providers on one side who can provide these machines. Okay, and on the other side there are consumers from all over the world who do not have to depend on you know whatever the rates are being charged by an Amazon or Google or whatever. Okay, and because the price makes sense, okay, the provider can actually put it for even $1, the platform can even sell it for $2, and yet it will make sense for the consumer, the platform, and the provider.
Yeah.
That's what is the phase one of GPUnet. Okay,
Yeah.
creating plenty of supply, removing that middleman entirely. Okay, and letting the platform give the best prices, the best compute available for anyone to grow and build their own decentralized AI.
You mentioned it a little earlier on, but this is structured like some sort of mafia business, and uh, you know, knowing how those type of businesses operate, you're going to be very disruptive, and obviously, that is the basis of what cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology is about. And my question to you is, lately you've been gaining traction, you have a proof of concept. Have you, received any backlash from anybody that would be threatened by your technology, putting them, not necessarily out of business, but taking a bit of their market share, right? Because at the end of the day, they have a stronghold on it, and anybody that threatens that would be yeah, a threat. So how would you deal with that in the future as well?
I have seen it. So I see the world is
Yeah,
changing at the fastest pace in the current era.
yeah,
Okay. Uh, Power used to lie in shadows 50 years ago.
yeah,
Today it's all out. Okay.
hmm,
So in the shadows where I gauged it, trying to get GPUs or trying to get these GPUs online.
hmm,
So our success, by the way, is getting providers who will be putting the first 500 machines on the platform who have committed to us. Okay. In a market where it's so scarce. Okay. Now 500 machine, each monetizing at a rate of, now I'll assume only $2,
hmm,
half of AWS,
hmm.
monetizing at a rate of $2 generates about $2,000 per machine per month revenue.
Beautiful.
Okay, so you can do the math on what's the
Yeah.
size of this, you know, 500. And just to give you a perspective, what's the value of this? We are against a mafia.
Yeah.
So if we have built something that should be very powerful, our competitors who are doing it, okay, say Akash or Render, are sitting at $1 billion plus valuations, both.
Hmm.
Okay. And Akash today is, by the way, doing 30,000 USD per month of revenue. Okay.
Wow.
Our live on chain revenue right now is 3,000 as of now. We have about, some six machines out there. All are rented out. And as we phase out those 500 machines, we aim to go beyond.
Yeah.
But what I had to go through to get these 500 machines is where saw that I was struggling.
Hmm.
Huge, huge.
So,
Okay.
so of this 500 machines, how you mentioned six are like how much are being utilized right now?
So we are phasing them out slowly, slowly.
Okay.
Okay. So we have got now clients who are using six machines.
Okay.
All the six machines are on the platform and all are
Hmm.
rented out. Okay. Now, if let's say we are now growing on the demand side,
Hmm.
okay, happy to people who are hearing this out. If they want to talk for a big chunk of machines, you can chat with us. And let's say now there is an order of demand of, let's say, 50 machines coming in January, we'll be happy to add them.
Hmm.
Okay. It will be a matter of a week or two for the provider to get the setup running. Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, if
Yeah.
demand side is done, we'll go live with all those machines
Yeah,
in the
and
coming.
pretty much now it's just getting the word out there, making getting people aware. I mean, and that's why this smart partner spotlight is so key, and just understanding that you have this option for people, and it seems like a win-win on every front for the consumer. It's a discounted rate compared to the giants like AWS, like you mentioned, and then for from a business perspective, it generates it's lucrative, right? So it's a win-win, and the cherry on top is that we're not going to these centralized these large entities for the market share that they completely own, right? So that's the really cool thing for me. Um, so you have, like you mentioned, you have quite a few of them under GPU network is already has a bunch of GPUs in hand.
Hmm.
What's next on the roadmap? Because expansion is probably one of the big things. But from your perspective, what do you see that's the next big ticket item on the roadmap?
Yeah. So now coming to the deep tech side of it,
Hmm.
there are a lot of problems that are actually unsolved.
Hmm.
Okay. So one of the first problems that we are solving is, since I have my providers and it's a trustless world, okay, in an Amazon or AWS format, I can't give a agreement that, okay, consumers, whatever. I don't own the machines.
Hmm.
It goes to the providers. So how do I create a system where there is complete isolation between a provider and a consumer?
Hmm.
Okay. I have this network. Well, let's say someone tries to maliciously, download the data of a consumer or the model. Okay. The way out to this is something called FHE, or fully homomorphic encryption. Okay. This is something that is so deep tech that I have two researchers working on this. Okay. Myself, our, I would say our strength of our company is taking lab papers to market. Okay. Something that even IBM has not solved. IBM is today one of the most respectable companies for FHE. They have FHE libraries, but even those are not model independent. Okay, that means per model they'll have a different FHE. And when you have this kind of solution, it becomes a services business rather than a product.
Hmm.
Okay, FHE today is very painful. Okay, I mean, I go and encrypt a model, and if there is a model that takes, let's say it takes 1 GB of GPU memory, and my encryption makes it 1 TB, there is no GPU on the planet which has a 1 TB of GPU memory. How do I encrypt less, but you know, I don't compromise on the security?
Hmm.
Okay, so this is a trilemma, okay, that we are trying to solve between decentralization, security, and sometimes it's latency, okay, or cost, whatever you do with this FNG. This is one problem. The second problem is How do I verify the compute?
Yeah.
Okay, many people have tried to solve it. Lot of research solutions exist. I mean, it started from the time of SETI trying to distribute their compute workloads into people trying. Jensen has not solved this fully. Okay, the guys backed by, or they raised almost 50 million into funding by Coin Fund and all. Okay, I was and pretty cool. I was talking with Harry onto one of these this calls and all. So uh, this is one very tricky thing we are solving. The solution to this, okay, would be where we launch, and the next thing, as you said, that will be coming in a very big way.
Hmm.
Okay, we'll be launching a node program. Okay, so now the way we are moving to on the token side, we are almost moving to a Ethereum-like model.
Hmm.
Okay, where all the revenue coming from the consumers, okay, in GPU tokens would be all burned.
Hmm.
Okay, after our TG and all, and all the providers that are on the platform get a fixed block of rewards as per the tokenomics. Okay, let's say the total block of this for providers is 40 million GPU tokens. In year one, there'll be 20 million tokens. In year two, there'll be 10 million. In year three, there'll be 5 million, and so on. There'll be a halving cycle. Okay, and when we launch these node program, okay, basically every provider becomes a node. Okay, so whatever tokens they are earning as part of their compute provision is staked as part of the node. Okay, where the more they stake, the more they are incentivized. Okay, but say there is malicious activity or you try to, okay, smart the system, your tokens are slashed. Is
Yeah.
literally first strike, second strike, and third your all
Yeah,
your tokens.
that's a brilliant idea because it puts accountability on the nodes, and I guess also some sort of reputation for the nodes, because
Correct.
why would you, yeah, why would you act in any way that doesn't benefit you? So it incentivizes good behavior. It's a good idea, and I think that's very key to note, because with every innovation that we do create within this space, there's always the aspect of malicious activity that in some cases goes unnoticed, but we see it all the time, exploits all the time, and that's what gives this space trouble with growth and evolving. So yeah, 100%. That's a really good move. So with that being said, you have that node structure. When is that coming live? You would say, is that immediately with the with your main launch, or is that like an update that would come at a later date?
We're planning to do the node testnet before,
Okay,
okay, but lots of moving pieces to it.
for sure.
As I
Yeah.
said, it becomes a very solid research that's going out freshly, So we're doing a lot of testing to make sure all the parts to it. Okay, also simulating it across in and out. Um, Basically there will be a queen node which will make sure these nodes are the queen node is sending random test packets to these nodes,
Mhm.
which if they do, let's say they're honest, okay, let's say I give you 2 plus 2, 2 plus 3, 2 plus 4, 2 plus 5, and you give me 4, 5, 6, 7. This is your answer, right?
Yeah.
That's your level of compute, but maybe it'll take 2 seconds to give me.
Yeah.
So I know, yes, you are probably uh, you know you're probably 15, 20 years of age and education and all,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? uh, Now this goes out, okay, but let's say for some reason if you're not able to get this, okay, or you're taking much longer, okay, then I know even when the time you are doing your other works, you're probably not doing it honestly,
Hmm.
okay. This is the queen node that will be there in the beginning to make sure the network is not corrupted or whatever. Let's say more than 51% are just trying to smart the system. Okay. But this queen node over time, when we know it's like a very big compute, okay, let's say more than some exaflops capacity, this queen node itself will uh, you know, be withdrawn. And the nodes themselves can send out test packets to each other randomly, small, okay, and check each other if each of them is doing their task amongst them, a pure P2P system, if they're doing their task correctly, okay. And in case of malicious activity, the nodes have the power to slash the tokens of each other.
Wow. Yeah, very, very like intertwined system of protection and safety measures. So that shows that you care about the security of the network, of course. Um, yeah. Let's switch gears here and move on to some questions that we got asked from our community. And if you guys aren't following already, please make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and also follow us on Telegram, as we have a lot of our exciting Spicy Capital stuff going on there. We have a ZD contest that you can join into, and hopefully win some cash prizes from just participating in and asking questions like the one we're gonna ask here. So let me pull that up here. So we got this one question here from a member in our group, and the question is: 3D generative AI tools are showing tremendous rate of advancement. How will GPU network position the in-house suite to be attractive, and what is the strategy to stay competitive? And then part two of that is: are you planning to market GPU uh, network, the emerging DeSci platform, or build any tools to facilitate its usage by DeSci pioneers? So I guess we'll start with the first part on just staying competitive and features.
Yeah, so 3D generative AI, we have built the whole platform. It's based on a nerve pipeline that we have built in house. Currently, we have achieved multimodality on that as well.
Hmm.
So, as I said, we started with video to 3D. We have reached image to 3D. From a single image, we are able to reconstruct 3D. We'll also pretty soon plug in some LLM and take it to a text to 3D format. Okay, that will be there. Now, onto the core architecture of the platform itself, we are considering to shift from a nerve to a Gaussian splatting based algorithm. Okay, so that's what will be the most cutting edge and will be coming. Okay, and will be natively deployed on GPU network. Okay, so if people want to just use the Docker and start generating 3D images or 3D assets, it should be very easily doable.
Awesome. And I guess the second part of the question, or maybe you answered it already, but just the emerging DeSci platform, um, those tools to facilitate usage by DeSci pioneers.
So now, let's say if there is a person who is a researcher, he has an idea and he needs, let's say, X amount of funds, okay, or it could be resources, right? GPU net is pooling in compute, right? This person can create a, let's say, a general purpose unit, still GPU net, okay, and create this setup where there are different people who are contributing different parts to a science project. Okay, let's say someone is doing the uh, drug discovery, someone is doing the clinical trial. There are, let's say, 1,000 people who are doing the trial of themselves, and there are mechanisms to make sure people are not cheating on or just doing it for the money. Okay, this becomes a decentralized science project.
Hmm.
Okay, where your token is driving the result of, it could be any research. It could be into biogenomics. Okay, bio has a big potential. I mean, there is a bio and a binary kind of a barrier. Okay, but I mean, take your conventional neural networks in your brain. They're highly efficient. Okay, you take a H100 machine, it consumes so many megawatt of kilowatt of power, but your brain, it runs on almost a residual energy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's very powerful. What this biology that has evolved over a billion years or plus, they are most efficient machines on the planet.
That's why I know we're kind of going off topic here, but that's why I think that we're going to be eventually full circle and see that the most efficient machine is life itself. Because I see it. What are we trying to really do? We're trying to replicate, uh, um, you know, what we see in nature, but more in a controlled environment, right? That's all we're trying to do. We can dictate a lot of different things with like a supercomputer or a quantum computer, rather than telling the brain to do something, right? So I think that's the biggest thing. But yeah, I see us like I'm not talking next year or even 10 years. I'm talking about hundreds of years from now. Eventually, the most efficient thing will be human life or life itself, and we're going to try to replicate it using our own. Like look at all the robotics that are coming out that are AI integrated, and the way the muscles even work. You can see the way the
Yeah,
it's replicating the same thing. We have that, right? But
yeah.
instead of trying to improve on human or natural life, we're just trying to make it our own and play God. But so let's go to our last question here, and this comes from another community member, And this person asks, please share a part of your vision for the decentralized compute infrastructure and why this compute layer is important for both builders and users.
Yeah. So, to me, it's most important. Okay. I myself faced that while building the best 3D generative AI. And we realized we are miles and miles away from that. GPU Net is towards that, a vision where we have 100,000 plus super enterprise grade GPUs on the platform. Okay. And this compute is owned not by any of these centralized providers, but by the community, by the node providers themselves. Okay. And they have the entire authority to control who gets what.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, with this compute available, you dictate your own pricing, you make it available towards whatever projects. There could be a DSI project where people want to build better molecules using these compute,
Mhm.
do predictive training onto that. There could be better LLM agents across every application on the planet, across every language on the planet. Okay, but available for everyone at the same way, because a platform will not ask you if you are, you know you're close to a US Senate person or not.
Mhm.
As long as you have the wallet and the tokens, it will give you the same treatment as it will give to anyone else. Okay, this is a fundamental unit of a future that we want to imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, if humanity has to grow, okay, there will be two things that will grow a lot by which you can measure. One is energy. Okay,
Mhm.
energy consumption has been used to see the growth of countries.
Mhm.
The other is compute. Okay, so the decentralized world itself, today we have a Web3 market cap of whatever 1.5 trillion.
Yeah.
If this has to grow to a 10 trillion or 100 trillion, for comparison, all of your Web2 stocks of the planet are worth 100 trillion combined.
Mhm.
Okay, if Web3 has to grow to a bigger market share of this world, then compute will be one of the key Legos of that.
Mhm.
That's what our vision is.
100%. And kudos to you for recognizing the removal of barrier to entry, creating that accessibility for anybody to compete on the world stage, just in terms of building LLMs and also participating in the innovation of it, because there's a lot of brilliant minds in the world that just do not have access, whether it be because of the huge paywall from these centralized entities, or just like you said, you just don't know the right people. This eliminates that, and I think that that's gonna shape the future in ways we don't even know even today. I think it's gonna bring there's a popular maybe not a quote, but people talk about it all the time, how parts of Africa have been deprived of technology education, but they skipped so many steps now and have cell phones, and that cell phone with
Yeah.
the introduction of crypto is a bank, and it just keeps the level of innovation is steadily increasing. But one thing we learned from this show is that there is a lack of supply for that underlying infrastructure, whether it be computing power, right, or in other cases, other elements. But in just simply talking about computing power, that's what GPU networks are going to bring to the world, and I think that's going to be an amazing thing to see. And yeah, Suraj, uh, as we wrap up here, I wanna just say thank you for choosing this path, because you may not see it, but you've influenced a number of other people in this space to contribute to the greater good of innovation, I think. So yeah, did you have any closing remarks with that?
No, it's great. It's great. Enjoyed it equally. Okay.
Hmm.
As I was saying, towards our chats becoming as long as a Lex Friedman podcast, you also need someone as absorbing as Lex to
Yeah.
be on the other side.
Yeah.
And I really loved having that chat with you.
Yeah.
You know, ringing harmonics at that frequency together. So
100%.
equally kudos to you as well.
100%. Well, guys, that concludes our episode of Partner Spotlight with Suraj from GPU Network. Remember to follow, subscribe to all of GPU Network's platforms. We'll have all the links in this description. They have a lot of incredible stuff coming up in the next few months, and it's going to really redefine what we see as the status quo. Once again, Suraj, thank you so much for coming on the show, and we'll see you next time.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Bye.